mention that. We're live now. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm Catherine Sayo, and we're here to talk and with my dear friend and colleague, Siobhan Huggins, and we're here to talk about lipedema and specifically what's new and coming up. And what's new and coming up today is that Siobhan is in South Dakota. And I
I
just,
am.
and I have like so many questions. So you've been there a week.
Yep.
And what has it been like? How does it feel? Do you like it? Siobhan is planning to move to South Dakota next year.
Yeah. So I like it so far. It is, I'm not really sure what to compare it to because it's definitely Midwestern, especially like seeing the people around, talking to people. Um, it is very car heavy, but also everything has sidewalks, super easy to walk places. There's a bus that goes downtown. I have not been to the Falls Park yet. I'm gonna go on Sunday. That has like the waterfalls and everything, and the farmers market and stuff. Um, when I first touched down here in the plane, something happened that made me go, "Wow, I'm really back in the Midwest." Which is that the plane lands, everybody gets up and gets unbuckled, and the guy next to me sat down, and he turned to me and kind of like gestured to the people who had already stood up and like, "Oh, do you really think we're gonna get up and out of here anytime soon?" I was like, "Yeah, no, probably not." Usually takes a while. He was like, "Yeah, hurry up and wait," and kind of laughed. And when we did finally stand up, he asked me if I had anything in the overhead, and I said, "Yeah, I have a backpack right up there." Pointed to where it was, and he got it down for me, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot. Like in the Midwest, people will randomly talk to you and then do nice things for you, completely unprompted, and you're probably never going to see them again." So that was really nice. And I went to the yarn store first thing. Same day I touched down, immediately went to the yarn store. And I found out that every Saturday they have a knitting circle. So while I was in there, I grabbed some spinning fiber and then I sat down with the group, about 6 or 7 people, mostly women, one guy. And they were just people from in town, and introduced myself, said, "Hey, I'm going to be your neighbor soon." And they gave me a ton of advice on like where to shop, where to get groceries. Yes, it's livable without a car for the first year until my husband gets here. Um, One of them had lived at the apartment that I had picked out. And they said, "Yeah, it's really nice. You have a choice between like a wood fireplace or in unit laundry. So it's old unit versus new unit is the difference." And then another of the ladies there lives across the street in the townhouses from the apartment. So we're actually going to be like for real neighbors. And that was really cool, just like meeting people and getting to chat with them. It seems like it's Sioux Falls has 200,000 people ish, but it still has that almost like small town feel. Like I went out for dinner immediately after the knitting thing, and I saw one of the ladies from that group at the restaurant. So it's like you see people that you recognize in town, which is interesting. And yeah, so the people are really nice. I like walking around. I like exploring. It is more spread out, but I actually like that because it means basically any direction that I can go, there's stuff to look at. Like to the east is the yarn store and some restaurants and stuff. To the south is the butterfly house and the zoo. To the west, there's like a park over there. To the north is downtown and the park and the farmers market and more restaurants and more stuff. So I've just been like wandering around exploring. And after work every day, I actually want to go out and walk around because there is stuff to look at. There's places to go. There's a big variety. Like tomorrow, I'm going downtown to the farmers market, and then I'll go back to the yarn store for the knitting circle. And then after that, I'll go out to dinner. And then after that, I'll go to the Washington Pavilion downtown because they're having a screening of Psycho, very Halloween movie. But along with the screening, they have the South Dakota orchestra who's going to be playing the music from the movie live as you're watching it in this like arena type of thing. So super excited for that. um, and they just have like all sorts of stuff. Mom did give me permission to go to the zoo without her at first because I was like, well, I want to wait until we come down together and then we can go to the zoo together. She's like, you like when she lived in Houston, she would go to the park or she would go to the zoo every year, and she's like, it's not a big deal, just go. It's like okay. But I do also want to go to the butterfly house because it seems it's an all year round butterfly house. So I'm really interested to see how they pull that off. And Mom also said she was curious how they're doing that. So I really like it, actually. I'm not sure if it'll be a forever home because it largely depends on my husband's opinion. He wants more similar to like European towns where it's super walkable, but I don't know how easy that is to find in the US,
Mm,
especially for like livable prices.
mm.
But once he gets here, um, we'll go road tripping and exploring to different places and we'll find something. But for the next like 3, 5 years, this will be perfect. And everything is so affordable. So
Oh,
affordable.
well, that was one of the main reasons why you were looking.
Yes, definitely. And I like the people, which is always nice.
Right.
And there's, I don't know, there's just all sorts of stuff to occupy myself and entertain myself. And the winters will be snowy, and yeah, the yarn store is really cute. They actually have, I don't have it over here, but they sell fiber from an alpaca farm that's like not in town, obviously, but like local. So local alpaca fiber that you can spin up, which I did get and I will be doing.
Wow. Well, I would take the guy. Did you ever find out his name? The guy on the airplane?
Oh, I have no idea.
No idea. I would take the mystery nice guy as a sign of welcoming. And because
Yeah,
it's
I think
such a
so.
lovely thing for people to do. Um, oh goodness, there's people are asking questions. First, let me say hi. Hi, Kim, and hi, Jenny, and hi, Dot Sky, and Nancy from Michigan, and who's Monkey? Oh, that's Jenny. Live music with the film, she said. Okay, now here's a question. How do I deal with the swelling and pain with EDS and lipedema? Because I am frustrated with American healthcare that I feel like I want to save to go to Germany for medical tourism for healthcare. Well, here, let me post this. This is Bright Ambition. It's a good question. So, there are different ways that you can deal with the swelling and pain. And one of the main ways is a low carbohydrate ketogenic way of eating, which can cut through the inflammation quicker than almost anything that I've seen. And Siobhan is an expert in that area. So, Siobhan, can you talk to this a little bit? And then I'll also say a few words about what I actually have done, which is to use CBD um,
Hmm.
to mitigate pain when it was really like I couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah. So definitely some of the best evidence for reducing pain in lipedema and swelling in some of those studies as well is low carb ketogenic diets. I will say it's not the only way to do it. So within the nutrition sphere, even doing things like reducing the amount of processed food, cooking more at home, even just reducing the carbohydrate a little bit. In the studies we have, like going from high carb to moderate carb, focusing on food quality, stuff like that. All of that does seem to also help with pain, but it's almost like a dose dependent effect. So the more you reduce the carbs, the more you go towards keto. Going from low carb to keto That seems to have even more effect in terms of circumference reduction, all of that type of stuff.
So she has a
So,
gastric bypass. So
yeah, yeah. So I've done plenty of people who have had different forms of bariatric surgery and have gone keto. I know people who've been on keto and then got bariatric surgery on top of it. So I've seen it go both ways. There are some special considerations. I would definitely talk to your doctor about it. I know one of the things they focus on a lot is getting in enough protein, and then also some concerns around like malabsorption and things like that. So definitely talk to your doctor about it, what they recommend to focus on specifically. But I do know people who have done it and did really well on it, honestly. So yes, but definitely talk to your doctor. But yeah, so nutrition, lots and lots of evidence for that helping. It's something you can do. Obviously, you want to talk to your doctor about any dietary changes or anything like that, but it is something you can do without heavy involvement from the healthcare industry in a lot of cases. In some cases, there needs to be medical supervision, any blood pressure medication, diabetic medication, psychiatric medication, you'd want to be medically supervised for that. But definitely something that people can do at home while they're looking at other options so that they're not making a decision on potential surgery. It sounds like that might be something you're considering in this kind of desperation state. So we always want people to make big decisions when they feel comfortable and confident and really sure that they're making a good choice for them, that they're picking the best option out of all of the choices if they do decide to go forward, and taking care of pain and swelling in the meantime through conservative care is definitely a way to get to yourself in a good place to make decisions. And then also for swelling and pain in some of the studies is lymphatic care as well. So things like compression garments, and getting into the pool if you can, even any type of activity, manual lymphatic drainage, self manual lymphatic drainage, tons and tons of different things that you can do. We talk a lot about Perry Nicholson with the Big Six. You can look them up on YouTube. It's just a simple self massage for kind of getting the lymphatics going. So, in at least one study, they did find that lymphatic interventions typically used for lymphedema were helpful for lipedema for pain reduction and some of that tightness and heaviness and things like that. So those are two options that are something that anybody pretty much can start today, especially if you can reach out to your doctor and do a quick just question answer type of thing to make sure you're all good to go before starting.
great. Thanks, Siobhan. Hi, Julie. Julie Rosa says it's been a while since she caught us live, so she's glad to be here. I just
Yeah.
I want to address two other things that Bright Ambition said. One is about what's happening with the American healthcare system, but I would say the healthcare system almost more here in the US, but the healthcare system is very broken. But I want to address the CBD thing because she says um, that sometimes CBD is too much for her body. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. I can share my own personal experience, which is osteoarthritis is a comorbidity with lipedema, and it gets really complicated with EDS as well.
Mm-hmm.
And where I ended up quite a few years ago now, probably 10 years ago, was losing a lot of my mobility because I was bone on bone in my right hip. For some reason my left side is okay, but my right side I had bone on bone. I was in a lot of pain and I honestly didn't know what to do. And then I also ran into the brokenness of the healthcare system, but because I'm overweight, obese, um, I couldn't find anyone to replace my hip. finally I found someone, and she was fabulous. She was innovative. She did a hip replacement laterally. Mostly they do them either anteriorly or posteriorly, and I couldn't do either one of those, and she did it laterally, which comes in from the side. She was terrific. Oh my god. She was a gift. But I had to lose a significant amount of weight, and I had done everything under the sun. And finally, what I ended up doing is a combination of carnivore and fasting. And I did that for almost a year in order to lose. And I didn't even lose that much weight that time, but I lost enough to have the surgery. And I needed to survive until I had the surgery. And that's where CBD really came in for me, because I would do that. I would also take some Advil. Advil was my painkiller of choice. Other people have other painkillers they like, but so the combination, but it was a really rough year. Um, and that's part of what so many of us deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Jenny, who's here, has had much more with swelling and EDS pain, and she could talk to that more, which she's one of our mentors in our tribe. I'm not sure, Bright Ambition, if you're a tribe member or not, because I don't know what your real name is. But anyway, there is help, and there is something that can. Um, and in terms of the healthcare system, we just need to hang in there. And I think the thing that makes a difference for me in my life, and I hear it again and again and again with so many of the people, is that we can be in community with each other and share our knowledge, our experience, and really help one another to find the way. Um, okay, so this is more how do I feel about Zepbound, Monjoro? They have me on that and my metformin for diabetes, but I hate how it upsets my stomach. Trying to keep slim to make my weight for my first lipedema surgery. I wish you the best. I've had good luck with Zepbound. I went on it the first time I went on it, not so much, and I was paying out of pocket, and it was very costly, and it takes a number of months to kick in. At least for me, it did. It took like 4 or 5 months before I started to really see things move. But I also have been fasting. And I think the combination is what is working for me right now. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very, very personal and what works for you.
Yeah, it's a tool like any other, so it'll work for some people, not for others. We don't have big, huge studies on its use in lipedema specifically, especially long term, like with anything like that. I always like to look at like real world 5-year data, because that's when we got a lot more information in terms of things like bariatric surgery out in the real world, people using it, what were the results 5 years out. Um, and then some people say it is helpful for things like lipedema related pain, some weight loss, typically not getting rid of things like the scar tissue, but some people have said maybe softened a little bit. Other people said made them feel horrible, didn't work. Other people said didn't really notice an effect, or it took a really long time, or it was really slow. So just like with any medication, it really just depends. And just like with any medication, I always like to see what is the long-term plan. Some
Mhm,
people, even using it for obesity, have said, clinicians is actually where I get this from, that after 2 years, some of the appetite regulating effects might start to wear off in some patients.
mhm,
In which case, if there's lifestyle intervention that needs to be put in place during that time, really getting those skills baked in, and getting into the habit, making all those changes during that period of time so that if that does happen, you already have your backup in place and you're not scrambling to make changes at that point.
So she's lost over 200 pounds. Congratulations.
Yeah,
That's
congrats.
just wonderful. But she says she also has medical, oh, she guess she must have run a medical lipedema fundraiser because her medical debt is so high and it's putting her in a depression. What happened? We just
I'm not sure. I
no
don't
no
have the ability to do anything, so it wasn't me.
no. I went to yeah. Um well, again, everything is so personal, but
Hmm.
in terms, since you've lost the weight and pain is still an issue, I highly, highly, highly recommend what Siobhan was talking about in terms of low carbohydrate, because while keto, it can help some people lose weight, it doesn't do that for everyone, but it also helps with the decrease in inflammation, which is where the pain comes from. Um,
Yeah, and that's actually the most consistent across many different studies. The amount of weight loss might vary, stuff like that, but the most consistent is pain reduction on a ketogenic diet.
yeah.
And even in our own community, people have used even just exogenous ketones to help with pain relief. We did an experiment on that a few years ago, but you can get exogenous ketones for free on a ketogenic diet just by changing what you eat. So it might be worth considering if it's not something that you've tried yet. And then in terms of the CBD, you said sometimes it's too much for your body. You didn't provide additional detail on what that means, but if you're taking it orally, I could definitely see that happening for some people just because of how your body can digest it essentially. But a lot of people who use it for lipedema pain, I've noticed they use salves instead, so a topical application directly where you're hurting. And maybe if you haven't tried that before, that might be something that helps with other potential effects from it.
So she also, I'm going to wrap up with this one because we're running over. What about lipotropic shot? I don't know what that is. Cupping
Me
or
neither.
acupuncture? I know cupping and acupuncture, and I use both. And I still needed, even with cupping and acupuncture and Chinese herbs and so many other things, the CBD is what got helped me with the pain. And
Yeah, but if it's something you haven't tried before, like cupping can be used as a lymphatic treatment, so it might be helpful
mhm.
if you have resources to access it. And that's an easy, like low barrier thing for you to access. It might be worth considering and trying. I would recommend just going very, very slow and potentially asking if it's through a massage therapist, see if they do any lymphatic massage, and see if you can get some of those treatments first, because with cupping, potentially there could be some pain and sensitivity. But if you can do some MLD treatments ahead of time, that might be able to reduce that somewhat. And then you could add in things like cupping where your sensitivity isn't as high. At least that
Yes.
is what I did, and I did find that that worked pretty well.
Oh, that's great, Siobhan. Um, so just to wrap up, because we usually are talking more about what's new and coming up with lipedema, we have our conference coming up in the April of next year.
Hmm.
But we have an early bird special that we have been running this week. Most of it is for the alums or anybody who's been to any of our conferences in the past. We have a couple thousand people. And so people have been registering for a reduced rate. Rather, the cost of it is $597, but we did a super duper, you cannot miss this early bird rate is $67. That is going to be over this weekend. So
And it's worth mentioning that the April um, conference is going to be all about nutrition for lipedema. So lots about ketogenic diets and a holistic approach to that. So we wrote a paper recently talking about a holistic approach to uh, carbohydrate reduction and lipedema. And that is what a lot of it is going to be talking about. So, not just the nutrition aspect of it, but also things like just tooling it to your preferences, budget, all of that type of stuff that we have to take into consideration when we're changing what we eat.
Yeah, that it's going to be a fabulous, fabulous conference. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me
So,
too.
I don't have the link, but you can email support@lipedema-simplified.org. I put it up on the screen. It's also in the chat. And Bright Ambition says, "Can you get a link? A link to what? I'm not sure. To go, you want to get resources." But anyway, you can always email us at support@lipedema-simplified.org. Welcome, Becky. It's great to have you here. And we're going to say, have a fabulous morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. It's Friday evening for me, or early evening. And so
Hmm.
I'm I'm actually doing a workshop tomorrow with Dr. Perry, and
Oh, cool.
she wants a link to the conference in April. Let me see if no, it's not. I don't even
I
have
don't
it.
think we have it up yet.
No, it's not up yet. So support@lipedema-simplified.org. If you want to get it, send that and I'll make sure it goes to the person who can send you the link and get it right away because the price is going up next week. So,
Hmm.
and always I love when I get good deals.
Me too.
uh, let me get a good deal. So, all right. Thanks, Siobhan. Always so good
Yeah.
to see you.
See everybody next week.
I have to end it now. All right. Bye.